Hey, 8th grade. In this video, we're going to continue our study of graphing parabolas. This video, we're going to focus on the second form, which is called vertex form. So vertex form looks like this: y equals a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. We're still going to go through our graphs the same method we did in the last video. We're going to focus on finding a vertex, finding the axis of symmetry, but it's just when you're given a different form here, there's a different process for finding that vertex and that axis of symmetry. So again, the axis of symmetry, same as the last video, it's that imaginary vertical line that splits your parabola into two symmetrical or mirror images. The equation for the axis of symmetry, though, in vertex form is not x equals negative b over 2a. First of all, there's not a b in vertex form. For vertex form, it's just going to be x equals h. So it's going to be x equals this number right here, the number that you're subtracting inside those parentheses. Okay, and then also, again, just like for your first video, this is also the x-coordinate of your vertex, x equals h. To find the vertex, so again, we said x equals h is going to be the x-coordinate of the vertex, so I could just say that the x-coordinate is h when you're doing the vertex. You're not going to plug back in your x value to find the y value. The y value is actually given to you in the equation here. The y value of your vertex is always going to be this number k. So this is always going to be h comma k. Alright, so let's go down and look at a couple of examples here and just fill out the same information we did in the last video. But this time we're going to use this new fact that x equals h will give us the axis of symmetry, and the point hk will be your vertex. So for number 1 here, our a value is 3. Our h value for this is 4. Now in the formula, just be careful. The formula contains a negative sign, okay, for our vertex form, so we're not going to include that negative sign if we see it here in the equation. Okay, this is part of the vertex form here, this minus sign, so our h value is actually just 4. You want to think of the opposite sign when you're looking at these. Our h value is just 4. Our k value, however, this is a plus k here in the formula, and so we are going to include the sign for the k value. This would be a negative 2. So your vertex is just going to be the point hk. Well, since h is 4 and k is negative 2, your vertex is just 4, negative 2. There's really no computation involved to find the vertex, which makes vertex form a lot nicer than standard form. We call it vertex form because it tells us the vertex right away. The axis of symmetry, therefore, is going to be the vertical line x equals 4. Since the a value is positive, just like for standard form parabolas, your graph will look like this. It'll be right side up. So this means you're going to have a minimum value. That minimum value is going to be at your y-coordinate of your vertex. That means we have a minimum at negative 2. And then finally the range, if the minimum is negative 2, that means the range goes from negative 2 to positive infinity. All y values greater than or equal to negative 2. Okay, let's have you pause the video and then try number 2 on your own, then click play to check your answer, please. Okay, for this one, your h value is negative 1. Since you saw an x plus 1 inside parentheses, that means h is the opposite sign, so negative 1. K is positive 4, and so your vertex therefore is at negative 1, 4. That means the axis of symmetry is the line x equals negative 1, and your max or min point is going to be 4. This is going to be a maximum because our a value up here is a negative 2, so that means this parabola is opening downwards. So maximum is 4, and your range then would be from all y values from negative infinity to positive 4. Okay, now let's try graphing. Just a couple of graphs here on the back side. And again, we're going to go through the same process as we did for standard form. The only difference is how we find our vertex. So for number 3 here, f of x equals negative 2 times the quantity x minus 1 squared plus 3. We'll go ahead and we'll set up a t-chart. There's no formula to use for your vertex, really, so I don't have to go through and make any calculations for my formula, which is nice. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to plug in, I'm going to use my vertex as my first x and y value, just like for the last one, but you know, just based on your h and k values, that h in this case is positive 1, and k in this case is positive 3, so this will be my vertex right here, 1, 3. Okay, you can still plug in a 1 to this equation here, but when you plug in a 1, you're going to get a 3 for y. Okay, so that's why this vertex comes out to be 1, 3. Then I'm going to pick two more values, either smaller than 1 or greater than 1. I'm going to pick 0 and negative 1 for this one. And these two I do have to plug in to find my y values. So I'm going to do negative 2 times the quantity 0 minus 1 squared plus 3, and then negative 2 times the quantity negative 1 minus 1 squared plus 3. So here I get negative 2 times negative 1 squared plus 3. Again, be able to do this without your graphing calculator, so make sure you know your order of operations. This would be positive 1 here times negative 2 plus 3. And that's going to give us negative 2 plus 3, which is positive 1. And then here I've got negative 2 times, this would be negative 2 squared plus 3. Negative 2 squared is 4, so I've got negative 2 times 4 plus 3. We get negative 8 plus 3, so we get negative 5 here. So my vertex again is here at 1, 3. Go ahead and we'll draw on the axis of symmetry. And then your remaining points, we have 0, 1, and negative 1, negative 5. Okay, so your graph is going to be opening downward, just like this, and then we'll go to reflect. Got a point here at 2, 1, and then a point here at 3, negative 5. And then again, once you get done graphing, it's a good idea to go to your graphing calculator, type this function in, and then use that graph trace feature to check and see that you've got the correct points on your graph, okay, and that your graph looks correct. Okay, last thing is I want to go on to number 4 and try another example. Click pause, try this one on your own, and then click play to check your answer, please. Okay, and this is what your number 4 should look like. So it should be an upwards parabola. Points at, well, vertex at negative 2, negative 5, points at negative 1, negative 3, 0, 3, or negative 3, negative 3, and then negative 4, 3. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to write those down, ask those next time you see me. Go back and rewatch anything in this video that you need to, and until I see you again, have a nice day. You're all wonderful people. Take care.